Hey friends, welcome back. Today's summary tells a story that mixes crime and thriller. A young woman goes on vacation with her friend. But suddenly she disappears. What she discovers is really unsettling. So what did she find out? Let's find out together. The movie begins with a beautiful young woman named Maryam, who has just arrived in Croatia. She gets into a taxi, heading to visit her friend Kate. When she arrives, the taxi driver introduces himself as Zane and gives her his business card in case she needs a ride anywhere in the city. As soon as Maryam sees Kate, they hug warmly, clearly happy to see each other. They go inside the house, and Maryam is impressed by Kate's elegant outfits and luxurious home decor. Kate explains that all of it is thanks to her divorce money. Her ex-husband forgot to change the PIN on his bank card after the split, so she took advantage of it and started buying herself a lot of things with his money. Maryam and Kate sit together, celebrating the fun vacation they're about to spend, and Maryam gives Kate a necklace as a gift. Kate likes it, but she still seems worried, as if she's hiding something. Later, Maryam video calls her husband Robert and their daughter to check on them, and Kate says hello to them as well. Maryam then gets ready to go out for the night with her friend. As they're leaving the apartment building, they run into Sebastian, the building owner, who greets Maryam and wishes her a pleasant stay. After that, they head to a restaurant for lunch. Maryam apologizes to Kate for not being there during her divorce from her ex-husband Jay, but Kate assures her she's not upset and that everything is fine now. Kate asks Maryam how things are with Robert. Maryam tells her that their marriage is going through a rough patch, but she has no personal issue with him because he's doing his best to make the relationship work and takes good care of their daughter. While they're sitting there, Kate steps aside to take a phone call, and Maryam notices she's speaking in an agitated tone. After leaving the restaurant, they take Zane's taxi to a nightclub to continue their night out. On the way, Maryam gets to know Zane better and learns that he's from Syria and came here after the war. At the club, they meet two guys sitting alone and end up drinking and having fun together. The next day, Maryam wakes up feeling sick from all the drinking and partying. She looks around the apartment for Kate but can't find her. She sees Kate's clothes by the pool, but Kate herself is nowhere to be found. Maryam searches everywhere but with no luck. When she enters Kate's room, she finds blood and broken glass on the floor, and fear sets in. She tries calling Kate, but her phone is off. Maryam calls Robert, tells him what happened, and expresses her worry. Robert tries to calm her down, saying Kate might have just gone out to buy something and will be back soon. He asks if they argued or if something happened, but Maryam explains that she drank a lot and doesn't remember much, though she's sure they didn't fight. Maryam goes to Sebastian and asks if he's seen Kate. He tells her he saw them last night coming back with two strangers, and he hasn't seen her since. Maryam grows more worried and goes to the police station to report Kate missing. She tells the officer about the blood, the broken glass, and the two men they met at the club, though she can't remember the club's name. She searches all the hospitals but can't find Kate. The officer says he can't start an official search until 24 hours have passed since her disappearance, and reassures Maryam that her friend is probably fine and will turn up soon. Maryam leaves still worried and calls Zane to pick her up. When Zane arrives, she asks him to take her to the club they went to last night, and tells him about Kate's disappearance. Hearing what happened, Zane decides to help her and stay by her side until they find her friend. They head to the club and learn from an employee that Kate had paid the two men to hang out with them. The only information they have about them is their names, Matteo and Luca. That night, Maryam talks to Robert again, telling him about her day and that she feels something bad happened to Kate. She says she'll postpone her flight and won't return until she knows her friend is safe. The next day, she searches for the two men and manages to find their social media profiles. She calls Zane and says she needs his help. They meet at a cafe to wait for the men after Zane calls them and asks them to come. While they're waiting, Maryam tells Zane that Kate was her college roommate, and they've been best friends ever since. She was even the one who introduced Kate to Robert. Zane, in turn, shares how he met his late wife. Matteo and Luca arrive, but as soon as they see Maryam, they run away. Zane chases them down, catches one, and threatens him to reveal Kate's location. The man says he doesn't know where she is and admits he ran because he stole her bag while she was drunk. They tell him to return the bag and promise not to report him to the police. He agrees, and once they're sure he's telling the truth, they go with him to retrieve Kate's bag and phone. After that, Zane takes her to the police station 24 hours later to report the incident, and the police begin searching. Zane asks her not to mention his name in any investigation so he doesn't get into trouble. She feels guilty for getting him involved and promises she won't tell the police his name. She then goes into the station and tells the officer the latest updates she's learned, adding that she feels like she might have been drugged along with her friend. The police take her to the hospital, ask her to get tested, and tell her the results will be ready in 24 hours. When she leaves, she calls Kate's ex-husband to tell him about her disappearance. He tells her that Kate likes attention, and this might just be another stunt of hers. She's done something like this before. He reassures her that Kate will probably show up soon and asks her to keep him updated. When she gets back home, she finds Sebastian there. He tells her she needs to leave because the lease has ended and he wants to rent the apartment out. She tells him about Kate's disappearance, and Sebastian offers her a small apartment in the same building until she finds her friend. He tells her to call him if she needs anything else. Maryam thanks him, and after he leaves, she rests for a while and falls asleep. That evening, when she wakes up, she goes out with Zane. She's surprised to see her husband Robert outside, telling her he had been looking for her since the morning to let her know he left their daughter with his family and flew over to see her. Maryam introduces him to Zane. After a while, Zane leaves. Robert then argues with her, upset that she trusts a stranger to help her when Zane could very well be involved in Kate's disappearance. Maryam gets upset and cries from his yelling, but he hugs her and makes up with her. Later they sit together, and she tells him everything that happened. At that moment, she gets a call from the police saying they've found her friend's body on the beach and asking her to come to the morgue to identify it. Maryam breaks down when she sees Kate's body and keeps crying. The police assure her that they'll conduct an autopsy to determine if it was murder or an accident, and will keep her updated. That night, Robert can't sleep, telling her he feels guilty for always treating Kate badly. Maryam comforts him. The next day, she goes to the morgue and finds out Kate was murdered. She pretends to be devastated in front of the officers and asks to spend some time alone with her friend. When the officers leave, she takes Kate's phone, unlocks it with her Face ID, and goes to the bathroom to look through it. She finds Kate's last call was to Robert. Maryam opens the chats and sees that Robert had been cheating on her with Kate, her best friend. Kate had even been asking Robert to leave Maryam for her. Maryam reads this in shock, confused about what's going on. Just then, the officer comes in with urgent news. The toxicology results show that both she and Kate had been drugged. The problem is, the police interrogated Matteo and Luca, who both denied drugging them and had solid alibis. Kate's ex-husband was also out of the country at the time. The police tell her multiple witnesses saw her arguing with Kate. She insists it wasn't a fight, just a discussion. The police accuse her of changing her story because she had initially claimed not to remember anything from that day. Because of this, they put her on a travel ban until they verify her testimony, now considering her a suspect. Maryam later talks to Kate's ex-husband, who admits he knew about Kate's affair with Robert and that this was why he divorced her. He apologizes for not telling Maryam, explaining that she was about to give birth at the time and he didn't want to ruin her life. She meets with Zane and tells him what happened, shocked and heartbroken. Zane asks her if it's possible Robert killed Kate. Maryam says she's sure he didn't because they'd been on video calls all week, and he was with their daughter. Zane warns her not to fully trust anyone, even him. That night, Maryam calls Robert and tells him she knows about the affair. He tries to deny it, but she insists she saw the messages. Robert admits it but says it wasn't serious. He asks her to travel to see him so he can explain, but she tells him she can't because the police have banned her from leaving. She adds that if the police find out she knew about the affair, they might see it as a motive for murder. The next day, the police arrest Maryam for Kate's murder. At the station, a female officer shows her a picture of her with Zane and says his real name is Zakaria, a member of a dangerous terrorist organization, and that Maryam hired him to kill Kate after finding out about the affair. Maryam is shocked and insists Zane is innocent, asking for a lawyer. When her lawyer arrives, she tells Maryam the police have no solid evidence and are just pressuring her to confess, advising her not to answer any questions without her present. Later, Maryam sees Zane and confronts him with what the police said. He tells her the taxi app records prove he was driving all night when Kate was killed, and that he has no ties to terrorist groups. He explains that during the war in Syria, he saved a boy whose father happened to be a member of such a group, nothing more. Maryam chooses to trust him and believes his story. The next day, Maryam discovers a small camera in the apartment Sebastian had given her. She starts talking to him but changes her mind at the last second and decides not to tell him. Instead, she secretly takes his apartment keys, and when he leaves, she sneaks in and writes a note stating that Sebastian had installed cameras in all the apartments in the building. She takes the chance to access the archive and plays a video showing everything that happened on the day Kate died. She finds out that Matteo and Luca went home with Kate, and when Kate went into the bathroom, they stole her bag and ran off. When Kate came out, she tried to run after them, accidentally knocked over a glass, and broke it, explaining the blood and shattered glass on the floor. Kate rushed outside after them, got into a taxi, and chased the two young men. A short while later, Maryam sees Kate returning in a private car with someone, clearly upset with him. Before Maryam can see who is with Kate, Sebastian suddenly walks in. Startled, she tries to escape, but he attempts to defend himself and deletes the videos. Maryam tries to grab his phone before he erases everything, but during the struggle, Sebastian falls, hits his head, and starts bleeding. She quickly runs out and finds Zane waiting for her outside. She jumps in his car and tells him to drive. On the way, she realizes the videos have already been deleted. Zane suggests they find out where Kate went that day, which might lead them to the person who brought her home. They head to meet the taxi driver who had picked Kate up in front of the house while she was chasing the two men. He tells them he dropped her off at the police station to file a report. At that moment, a police car arrives to arrest Maryam. Maryam notices the license plate is the same as the car that brought Kate home on the night of the incident. She and Zane escape, and the police begin chasing them. Maryam tells Zane that Officer Bifich was the one who killed Kate. Zane advises her to get enough evidence, then turns himself into the police to buy her time to get away. But Bifich continues chasing her, eventually catching her. After a struggle, Bifich falls from a rooftop and dies. The next day, the police release Maryam after confirming from street surveillance footage that Bifich was the one who brought Kate home that night, and that he killed her after she refused his advances. He struck her on the head and threw her into the sea while she was still alive. The police return her passport so she can go back to her country if she wants. Maryam walks out in shock and emotional devastation. When she sees Zane outside, she hugs him, unable to believe what just happened. Some time later, Maryam is back home with her daughter, completely ignoring her husband. Then Robert shows up, begging her to go out with him and the child. She finally agrees after his constant pleading. While checking Robert's jacket, she finds a key to an apartment, and inside, a piece of the necklace she had once gifted to Kate. Shocked, she realizes Robert is the one who killed Kate. She confronts Robert with the story of Kate's murder and confirms her suspicion when she sees him getting nervous. He tries to explain it was all an accident. He tells her he went to talk to Kate that day because she wanted to tell Maryam the truth about their relationship. They walked to the beach, talking until the argument escalated. Kate insisted that what happened between them was a mistake and that she regretted it. At that moment, Robert lost his temper and hit her hard on the head, knocking her unconscious. She fell into the sea, and he thought she was dead. Frightened, Robert ran away. He begs Maryam not to tell the police for the sake of their daughter. But the whole conversation is overheard by the police, because Maryam had already called them and left the phone line open so they could hear everything. Maryam hits Robert, takes her daughter, and walks out. She heads straight to the police, who arrest him. Maryam walks away with her child, proud that she will raise her daughter far from her murderer father and determined to give her all the love she needs so she'll never feel the absence of a dad. The movie ends here. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts in the comments.